All right, let's talk about now CNBC and your other opportunities that came through, after BBC.
Yes.
Are these opportunities that you actively sought? Did you go looking for them, or did they come calling you know, in terms of poaching?
Yes. So, so leave alone. Okay, so let me maybe touch on the tiny bit, which is maybe the moderation and the gigs and the hosting events and hosting panels, etc. So that's on the side. Most of the time, it's a lot of referrals, where someone sees your work and they say, there's someone else who would like to hire you for this. So that's separate, because it's both you look for it or people who know you and reference points. But now for CNBC, I joined CNBC because I would like to think I worked with the UN in Rwanda. We did a few projects together. And one of the people that we worked with on one particular project, that's why they say you really have to be good to everyone, because you don't know who you're working with. Because I don't think I'd be here if it wasn't for that guy. He's called Gustav, Emilian Gustav, and we worked together on a UN project. And I think he was handling sound or something. And we just laughed, I think, or he mic'd me. I can't remember the story properly, but then I think he gave reference to a camera guy that they worked with at CNBC. So the bad part about this story is the main presenter who was at CNBC at that time, main reporter, because they hadn't set up a studio yet, was he used to go to the gym and whatnot, so he broke his back. And then I think he had another issue where he fell in the bathroom and his back also got really messed, so he couldn't go to work. So it's such a sad story, but a position opened up. It's so sad, and he's a great guy, Kezio. He's doing amazing stuff as well. So then they came calling, and I was one of the people that got interviewed, and then I got the job. And then I reached the office, and I'm looking, but I've seen you somewhere. It's like, yeah, we were at the UN, we were at the UN event, and then so that happened. And I worked with the CNBC from 2014. Amazing employer. We had our moments, as is with every employer. We had amazing moments as well. I got to travel to almost, I don't know, maybe 20 countries when I was with them, or I think like 25 countries.
African countries?
No, all around the world. All around the world. They took me to Davos. I went to the States. I traveled with with the presidential delegation. Like, it was just a lot. It was just a lot that a lot of journalists dream of. Yeah, and then so around 2017, I think around 2017, 2018, that's when the as is the case with a lot of careers and professions, you start to feel like you're hitting a ceiling, right? And some remarks here and there make you feel like, what, maybe I should try and look for, just what else can I do to, to elevate just a bit more. And then I started now to actively look. And I remember one of the biggest dilemmas I had was that my entire family was here. One of my parents who had left Africa had also come back. So I felt like there was a need now to reconnect and, get back to your roots and try to see what you can build, homeland. But then the other issue was I also wanted to see how it is to relocate to another country and set up something just as we had done in Rwanda, So that dilemma was a bit tough. So I was thinking, okay, so do I join local media in Kenya? They were a good employer. Of course, there were a lot of murmurs here and there about working for local media vis-a-vis working for international media. So there was a lot of different opinions. And I thought about that. Okay, so there's great money, but you don't know about the longevity. You don't know about what you'd be risking or what you'd be gaining. So I think around that, I would like to think that I spoke to Larry Mado. He was a friend at that time, and I remember he came, I think, in 2015, 2016, and we just posed with him. He was doing something for something called Transform Africa, and I said, "Hi, I'm Larry. Hi, I'm Georgie. Hi, Larry, I'm Georgie." We were just standing at the same place, and then he said, "Yeah, I know who you are. You work with CNBC, no?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, we've been seeing some of your stuff." I was like, all right. I didn't think much of it but it really surprised me because you never know who's looking. And then so one thing led to another, and I think Larry was in the room actually when I interviewed the presidents, the 7 presidents, and I'd like to think that was one of the auditions, so to speak. Although the BBC process is a very professional and independent process, but I think that's when he probably, since he later became my editor, got to see what's possible from this Georgie guy. And at one point, the BBC now gave a call for people to join the business team because they wanted to set up one of the most formidable business team across Africa. And I applied. I had been denied entry to the BBC, I think 4 times before. I had applied 4 times before. I didn't get the job. But this time, God's grace again, it happened. And yeah, BBC journalist now, BBC broadcast journalist, yeah.
Now, you've touched on very important points, yeah? In regard to the opportunities you had to travel. And also talked about interviewing presidents. Yeah?
Okay.
What have those opportunities offered you? Not necessarily from a professional standpoint, but what has it done to you as an individual?
Man, to be 100% honest, I feel a bit emotional every time I try to track back how life has been, but it's really taught me that there is nothing that is impossible. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then another thing it's taught me is understanding that there is no person who's bigger than anyone. It's just that people have different circumstances and they live differently, they dress differently, but underlying everyone is almost, if you treat people the same, you will always have such a peaceful life. No one deserves more respect, more love. No, everyone deserves the same amount of respect, the same amount of love. So it's really taught me a lot of humanity. When you see someone, when you're at the market and you're buying stuff and you're just laughing with the person selling, the vendors, and you sit on a panel and you're laughing with the president, it's really just the same. It's just different circumstances, but the fundamentals of being a human have to stay the same. So that and patience. Man, patience. I've been so anxious about a lot of things in my life, but I try to sit down and just think and say, you know what, I really have prayed for where I am now, so I think whatever I'm praying for will happen when it happens. So I think those 3 things are what it's really taught me. And just the basics, just remembering who you are or what the basics are of humanity. Yeah.
What have those opportunities taught you about them?
That they're normal people. Most of the time, when you hear someone extremely smart, like a director general, a CEO, or whatever, you think that they spend their whole life talking like this, articulate and, very well-worded words, well-spaced out words. Or sometimes they just want to tell you about their music and what they listen to. They like jazz. They listen to Don Moen 3 hours a week. Sometimes they just don't want to have those intelligent conversations. They want to, just be normal. So it's really, 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 really funny. One story, I remember we were on a panel with I think the Mali president was there, Sao Tome president was there, and at one point he was speaking in French, I think, if I'm not wrong. He was speaking in French. So at one point a question is being asked, and then I needed to interject. So I needed to interject and, ask maybe a follow-up question or ask someone else a question. And then he was speaking. So at that point, my French wasn't, it's still not the best, but it's extremely basic. But it was probably like a 5% then. So you can hear where the break is. So during that break, I interrupted him and I said, hey, Your Excellency, well, would like to, get some feedback on what you said.
You said it in French or in English?
No, in English, but okay. Just the interrupting bits.
At least you're able to cue it, kind of.
Yes, but now at that point, my peers or the journalists in the room, in the auditorium, had never seen a president being interrupted. I had never seen it, but it felt necessary to interrupt him because first, it felt like I needed to, clarify or get some extra feedback on that. And then when we got off the stage, the delegation from Mali came, they were laughing. But they were also, you know, very surprised. They said, you interrupt our president, you know, and it was just a clear reminder that there's some things that are extremely unheard of, but you can have fun, you know, you can have fun with these people. Not everything has to be so serious. Just take your career, make sure that you have enough professionalism, but just make it as fun as possible. So that's been a nice lesson.